ladies and gentlemen, are we live? All right, Banger Nation. Good morning, good morning. All right. Let's see here. Let's see if we're live. All right. All right. All right. There we are. Marty says, good morning, Double Nicks and Banger Nation. Good morning, Marty. Good morning. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a beautiful Taco Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Taco Tuesday. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting everything all copacetic here. Yes. All right. Just gotta get the thumbnail up over here. Give me 1 second. But yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, first stock that we're keeping an eye on right now today is NXTC, which ran up a nice 400% on news that the company announced a merger with Avere Therapeutics. This stock has, it's never really been on my radar much before, but it did have a nice movement up 400%. Again, on news that the company announced a merger with Avere Therapeutics right there. So that's pretty good news. That's pretty good news for the stock right here. Pretty good. Hold on. Nick says, hello, DBL Nicks. Hello, Nick. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great day, and hope you're having a wonderful Taco Tuesday. What do you like to have on your tacos, ladies and gentlemen? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gents. Me, I am a steak taco and beef taco man myself. Like some chicken in my tacos too. You know, fish. All that good stuff, man. Because it's a nice, beautiful Taco Tuesday. And you can never go wrong with tacos, you know? You can never go wrong with a taco. Alright. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Let's see here. Alright. Alright. Let's see here. 1 second. But yes, how's everybody's morning going? Hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Alright. Hope you guys are making lots and lots of money, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are making lots of money. Money. Yes, sir. Alright. Alright, there we are. Boom. Beautiful. Alright, it's the 14th of July. It's July 14th now, today. Alright, we're taking a look at NXTC, so let's take a look at it over here. NXTC. Let's get the graffiti pencil activated over here. So first things first about NXTC, we got movement over here. Boom, right there. Alright, and as of now, with NXTC, it had a shot upward over here. Boom. Formed a, yeah, I see. Yep. Casey Boyle asks VMAR. Alright, we'll take a look at VMAR in just a second. Give me 1 second. Let me just finish up NXTC and we'll get right on there. Alright, so NXTC did have a bit of a pennant right there. Joab says, good morning, Banger Nation. Good morning, Joab. Good morning. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're making lots of money. Alright. And it curled up once again, NXTC. Curled up once again and formed another pennant just above the VWAP at $8.01. It was above the $8.46 mark. Shot up above 993 and hit the high of day at 1232, but then pulled back just a little bit. And now it kind of needs to hold above 846 and needs to break above the resistance line at 993 for it to be schmexy to me. That's what it has to go on there. That's what has to go on there for it to be schmexy to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Joab says, morning, Marty. Yes, sir. All right, and Casey will get on VMAR in just a second. Just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Just a second. All right. Let's see, let's see, let's see. All right. There we are, there we are. All right. So, let's put this up here. NXTC ran up a nice 400%. Called it early in the private Discord prior to its run. There we go. That's NXTC right there. NXTC needs to break. Hold on one second. NXTC needs to break the pennant and the resistance line at $9.93 right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Let's take a look at the comments here. Marty says, good morning, Joe. I hope things are well. Bobo Beebs! Bobo Beebs says, howdy, Bobo. He says, hearing you, Lima Charlie. Copy that, Bobo. Yes, sir. All right. And, of course, he says, what's up to Joab, Marty, and Casey? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, while that's going on, we're going to take a look at VMAR for Casey. Let's take a look at VMAR. All right. VMAR, as of now, hold on. Let me get rid of anything previously done here. All right. Had a major shot upward. But pulled back quite a bit. All right. So, major shot, boom. Right up here. All right. And then formed a little bit of a descending, well, a little bit of a pennant right over here, right? And then proceeded to curl its way on up right here. And then kind of started to just curl its way back down just a little bit and needs to break that descending wedge as well as the VWAP at 224 for it to be schmexy to meow. So that's VMAR, Vision Marine Technologies Inc., up 29% as of now. All right, let's take a look and see what the float and volume of it is. Hold on one second, though, before we do, let me just get everything all set up and ready to go. Yeah. Bobo Beef says it was a whipsaw kind of morning. Ooh.
CPI all right. Is coming out today.
Yeah, CPI is coming out today, ladies and gentlemen. So it's one of those slow and steady days. It's one of them sniper days, you know what I mean? It's one of them sniper days because we got the CPI coming out today. Yes, sir. And people are in anticipation. You know what I mean? They're in major anticipation. And you know how it is when people get in anticipation. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Let me just make sure everything's all copacetic. Are we live on TikTok? Let me make sure we're live on the TikTok real quick. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. All right, beautiful. Ooh. Yes. All right. There we are. We are looking schmexy, ladies and gentlemen. How is it the VMAR can run so high at 4 a.m. and fall back down when no one's trading at those hours? Casey Boyle says.
Hedge funds.
Hedge funds normally. Yeah. Hedge funds are normally the reason for that. Not gonna lie to you. Lot of hedge funds. Yeah. That's pretty much the reason right there. I mean, like that's like in the most simplistic terms. That's it. Like they can trade real early because they have access to stuff like that. Bo Beef says yes. I will get back in the saddle tomorrow. Most definitely, man. Most definitely. Most definitely. Me personally, if anything, it's gonna be a lot of sniping and keeping my eyes out. You know what I mean? Keeping the old eyes open, ear to the ground. You know, listening for the stonks. You know what I mean? Listening and watching and waiting and waiting and watching and watching and waiting and waiting and watching. Yes. That's pretty much what I'm doing right there. Yes. Alright. But yeah. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Alright. Bo says hedge funds, huh? That's something new I learned today. Thank you. Oh yeah, no, they have they have access to lots of money, lots of money, and when you have access to lots of money, you can make the stocks move in interesting ways. Not gonna get too in depth about it, but yeah. So VMAR is one of those stocks where it had a nice shot up earlier. Like notice though, it kind of gapped, like right over here. It gapped quite a bit. Like I'll actually use the graffiti pencil right over here. Because I'm just sharing everything right now, but you notice there's like a gap right between this candle and this candle right here. Just shot up and gapped up immediately, and then just started pulling back down like that, right? And then curled up a little bit, and then pulled back down a little bit. And now it really needs to just break above this $2.24 line for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. You know what I mean? That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on right there. So yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, no, it happens. It happens, ladies and gentlemen. Yeesh. It's one of those things. Hold on. There we go. All right, we're going to take a look at GMEX. Let me just put a VMAR over here. VMAR, VMAR needs volume to break the descending wedge and the VWAP at $2.24 for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Casey Boyle asks for GMEX. GMEX, yep. I'm going to take a look at GMEX actually next. That was the next stock I was going to look at actually, believe it or not. So this stock is an Australian stock right here. All right, up 40% as of now. Has a bit of a top tail. We don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails. But let's take a look over here, see what we got going on. Has a massive price spike right over here for GMEX. Now, GMEX also has a 904,000 float. Volume is 1 million, ladies and gentlemen. So the volume is just above that of the float right now. And the float is very, very low, which means that it could potentially be something sporadic. So as of now, I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I don't entirely trust it right now. And there is there's a top tail going on here as well. Yeah, really needs to break above $3 for this to be schmexy to me. All right, so let me put this here. GMEX, GMEX, price spike, low float, stock. All right, low float stock. Top tails needs to break $3 and remain friends with the trend and above the VWAPA at 235 for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. And it looks like it pulled back down below that area. So again, Don't really trust it much. It is one of those low float stocks. A lot of the stocks that have low float, they tend to be very sporadic with the price action. So it's not necessarily something I trust, right? SHPH is like another example of that, but at least with that one, yeah, it's got a 578,000 float, but it also has a 26 million volume. So the volume's a lot higher than the float, which is good, but again, the float is still pretty low. So I'll keep an eye on SHPH, granted, but again, I'm not entirely trusting of it. You know what I mean? SHPH. All right, SHPH, Shuttle Pharmaceuticals Holdings Inc. All right, now this stock over here had a bit of a panic going on here. Hold on. Shot up right over here. Boom. Alright, and then curled its way on up right over here. Alright, before dropping itself back down like this right here. Alright, needs to break this little downtrend right over here. And needs to break above the $4.65 VWAP over there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's what we got going on. So SHPH needs volume to curl and break above the VWAPA at 465 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's SHPH right there. Not looking too schmexy at the moment. Not looking too schmexy. But we'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Alright. Alright, alright, alright. Alright. There we are.
CPI should have came out by now.
The CPI should have came out by now?
I'm going to check.
Alright. So, ladies and gentlemen, apparently the CPI should have come out by now. We're going to keep an eye out for it, see what we got going on there. Keep our ear to the ground. And
yep,
yeah.
CPI came out.
Alright.
CPI decreased by 0.4%.
Alright.
It dropped to 3.8.
Okay. CPI dropped to 3.8. Alright.
That's positive.
That is positive. That is very positive.
Hopefully bring some volume.
Yes, that's actually great. That's great. I like positive news there. So CPI has dropped to 3.8, ladies and gentlemen. So that's really good. That's good. I like that. That's what I like to hear. Heck yeah. Hold on 1 second. Just got to make sure everything's all copacetic here. But yes. All right. Hold on here. Hold on. Hold on. Just got to make sure this is working properly. Yes, it is. Okay, good. All right. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, CPI has dropped. That is good. That is insanely good. I like that. I like that news right there. That's the good kind of news right there. That's the kind of news the market needs to hear right there. So that could potentially inject some volume into the market right there. Could potentially inject some volume. So that is good. That's good news right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second. Right there. Boom. Let me just get this over here real quick. All right. Yes. All right. Just sharing this up over here. Let me get this shared up over here. Let's get the announcements out. I'm ready to go. Just gotta get this announcement here. But yes, CPI went down to 3.8. That's good. That's good right there. All right. Stephen Karras, DJ Stevie C is in the mix. Asks, is V ever going to recover VEE? Well, let's see. Let's see. I mean, it was a big runner yesterday, so yeah, following through is not necessarily a case there because it did have a nice run yesterday, right? So it's one of those things where it'll have a nice big old run one day, and then, you know, the repercussions come the next day. You know, who knows, right? But there is a lot of choppiness in the stock as of now. So it really depends, truly. It depends because I mean there was already a lot of running that happened yesterday. I mean it ran 600%. So as of now, this is kind of just the pullback. It's pulling below the VWAP. I don't trust it as of now, me personally. But you know, like okay, you know, you made your money on it yesterday. Cool, great. Again, I'm not one to, I myself, I'm not one to marry these stocks. I don't sit in there long term, me personally, but that's just me. I don't do that. You know, I'm one of those. I don't marry the stock. I like to date the stock. You know, for like a few minutes, and then that's it. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully it does. But if you look over here, right? If you take a look right over here, right, you'll see a little bit of something here, right here, a little shoulder, right here, a little shoulder, right, little head, and another little shoulder right here before it just goes back, it goes downward, you see? Like it's one of those things where, okay, cool, you know, it made a lot of money yesterday, but today, you know what I mean? That's me, you know? I don't trust it right now. You know, head and shoulders, went down, you know what I mean? So, made its money, good, back down. Yeah. So, there we go. That's VEE. VEE needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA at 2176 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. There we go. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. In the meantime, while that's going on, bless you, Coach. All right, I'm going to take a look at NXTC in the meantime while I'm just getting everything all shared up and ready to go. Right now, NXTC still has to break above that pennant right there. Has to break above $8.46, which it is pulled back below. Has to hold above $8.04 right now, which is where the VWAP is. Has to hold above that VWAP for it to really remain somewhat schmexy to me. Again, had a nice 400% run earlier in the morning, but has since pulled its way on back. So you got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. Has to break above 846, then the resistance at 993, and finally the resistance and slash high a day at $12.32. That is where it has to really break through for it to be schmexy to me. Otherwise, you know what I mean? It's meh. But it did have a nice run earlier today, so I'll give it that. I shall give it that. You know what I mean? All right, hold on. There we are. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. There we go. Give me 1 second. 1 second. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our merchandising, our merch store. Be sure to check that out, ladies and gents. Be sure to check it out. Our merch store is all sorts of cool Banger Nation stuff right there. Some cool Banger Nation stuff. When I say cool Banger Nation stuff, I mean we got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got lids, aka caps. We have cup and handles, i.e. you have little mugs. I like to call them our cup and handles, though. Get it? Because you know the cup and handle's a thing that we cup and handle's a little thing here. Take a look, you know, little cup and handle right here. You know, see the little cup and handle. Cup handle. We got a little cup and handle. Yes. So we got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got little cup and handles right there. We got our wonderful mugs there. We got our tumblers, the tumbler. We got the mouse pads. We got the Megatron glasses. No, I'm just kidding. as a reference. But no, we got the stickers, all sorts of cool stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We got all that cool stuff with Stewie Stickman there, Banger Nation. We even got one of Beebs Buckaroo that has actually been worn by our beloved friend Bobo Beebs. Bobo Beebs. All right, as you know, as well as other things there. Hello, Devo Moms. Want to say hey? Hello, hey. Yeah, she went to go get some breakfast. She went to go get some breakfast, but she wanted to say hey. Uh-huh. Mm. Thank you. All right. Oof, that's some good water. All right. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out the Banger Nation merch. Show us some love and show some support to the community and show by getting some swag. You know what I mean? Some swag. All right, all that cool stuff and more. Link to get that stuff is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. And remember, we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot's the cashola, the big bucks, I tell ya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get this over here. Boom. All right, all right, all right. And also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loots, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell ya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Alright. Yeah. We got all sorts of cool stuff over there. All sorts of cool stuff. NXTC is now up to 305 before pulling back just a little bit. It broke above the $8.46 mark. Market now has to break above $9.93 there. Hold on one second. Alright. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our new 3-month deal at a discounted rate of $66.67 per month, charged quarterly right there. It is a nice little discounted rate right there. Little deal. We got a little deal going on there. So it's charged quarterly, $66.67. It is a nice, cheaper alternative. Should it's a nice little limited time deal there. You know what I mean? It's a nice little limited time deal. So be sure to check it out while supplies last, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a limited time. Limited time, ladies and gentlemen, limited time. All right. So let's take a look over here. As of now, NXTC, hold on, NXTC needs to break the resistance line at 993. Alright, and note that it is curling above the VWAPA there. It is curling above the VWAPA. Alright.
Let's like up the stream.
Yes, let's like it up. Like it up, like it up, like it up.
Like up the stream.
Yes, all that good stuff right there. NXTC now up $9.90. Needs to break $9.93 for it to be schmexy to me. There we go. That's what it's doing right now, though. NXTC is slowly but surely climbing its way on up 321%. All right. Again, has news that it was trading higher after the company announced a merger with Avere Therapeutics. So we'll see what happens there. Has to break above 993 for it to be schmexy to me. Let's take a look at PMI. PMI, Picard Medical Inc., common stock right there, up 24% as of now, up 24%. Had a major pullback below the VWAP right over here, right? And then proceeded to curl its way on up slightly over here, right? Before forming a bit of a pennant right over here, right? Needs to break above this pennant. Needs to break above the VWAP for it to be schmexy to me. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. PMI needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA at 21 cents for it to be schmexy to mya. Alright. AMA. Let's take a look over here. Now, AMA, alright, as of now, has some lot of chop going on over here, a lot of chop over here, a lot of chop over there. Alright, a lot of chop over here, chop over here. Alright, and chop over there. So, as of now, very choppy stock, low volume, not looking particularly schmexy to me. That's AMA, very choppy with low volume, needs to break the indecisive wicks and choppy price action for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alright. Let's take a look at NXTC in the meantime. NXTC has it holding up there. NXTC still curling its way on up off the pennant. Needs to break 993. Alright, NXTC still curling up off the VWAP, or excuse me, yeah, up off the pennant, and needs to break the resistance line up at 993 for it to be schmexy to me. That's NXTC right there. NXTC, yes sir, yes sir. Yesh. Yesh. Hold on one second. Yesh. Alright. Alright, there we go. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going on. Right there. Alright. Let's get a share party going on. Yes, sir. Alright, there we are. Yes. Alright. There we go. Let's get the share party going. Let's get to 700. Let's get to 700, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 700, ladies and gents. Yes, sir. Alright. Alright. Woo. Hold on here. One second. There we are. And there we are. Beautiful. Alright. Let's take a look over here. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's take a look at some requests that we got going on. Cole writes, I've never traded a day in my life. I just see this and act like it makes sense. Well, you know what, Cole? I mean, hey, you know, if you want to start on something new, hey, you can. You know, every journey begins with a single step, brother. Every journey begins with a single step. So yeah.
Education's power.
Yeah. Education's power. Knowledge is power. And you know, it's just a lot of studying, really. A lot of studying and a lot of just watching and waiting. Patience and learning. Yeesh. That's really all it is. Just sitting there and just watching it. keeping an eye out for the next big thing, or just keeping an eye out and watching how the stock market moves in general, things of that nature. Someone requested PMI. PMI. All right. Well, let's take a look at PMI, shall we? All right. PMI. Not an interesting stock to me. Not really interesting to me. It really, if it really needs to break above 21 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, because it formed a bit of a pennant right here, and just needs to break above the VWAP right over here at 21 cents for it to be somewhat interesting to me. That's what we got going on right there. All right. So PMI as of now needs volume to break the pennant and the VWAP at 21 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. And I'm not a big fan of the penny stocks, but hey, not my kind of deal. Not my kind of deal right there. All right. But yeah, no, not schmexy to me. All right. All right. Someone requested SHPH. SHPH. Again, not a stock I necessarily trust entirely there. All right, not entirely something I trust. All right, hold on one second. Then it's sort of curling its way on up towards the VWAP, but it poked its head up above the VWAP at 464, but then it pulled back. So not entirely schmexy to me. Cole asks, I've always wondered how much someone should be making before they start trading, or is there not a correct amount? I mean, there's no real correct amount, really. I mean, it's just a matter of taking money and seeing what you could do, really. In my opinion, at least.
But paper trading is the move.
Yeah. Yeah, normally when one is starting out, paper trading, at least for me, paper trading was the move. And basically because it's like a trading simulator rather than actually using real money. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're basically practicing your strategies. You're working. You're figuring out how your thought process works and tweaking it out and changing it. It's basically what paper trading is. It's like paper trading is basically like a simulator, right? You're not using actual money when trading. You're basically just like you're practicing, right? It's like the training dummy. It's like a training dummy in stocks. So really, there's no set amount that one should be making or whatever. No. There's nothing like that. It just is, right? And it's just something you kind of do, right? And when you're feeling comfortable after a while of just training yourself and studying and working hard towards it, once that's done, then you finally take that first step. Every journey begins with a single step, brother. Yeah.
Slow and steady.
Yeah, slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. I was gonna say after every journey begins with a single step. This is step one. Secure the keys. I'm sorry. I was a Call of Duty Black Ops reference. I had to make it. I'm sorry. Anyways. But yeah, no. Every single journey begins with a single step. So yeah, don't be afraid. Just do it. That's the Nike slogan right there. Just do it. That's it. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. Study, acquire knowledge. I mean, that's what we got the 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99 for that. And we even have course material. We have course material as well, ladies and gentlemen. We do. So yeah, I mean, there's no set amount that one should be making there. It, it it kind of just is, and depends on what you're comfortable with normally. That's kind of just a comfort thing, if anything. You know? Yeah. But you know, I hope that helps, Cole. I hope that helps you. You know? I hope that helps. Yeesh. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is not stock or financial advice. This is just a show. This is just a show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are not stock or financial advisors. We don't do that stuff. This is just our opinions, all that cool stuff. Cole said, "Take it easy, Reznov." Yeah, exactly. I know. I had to make the reference, Cole. You know, I had to make the reference as soon as I said every journey begins with a single step. I had to. All right, it was right there, and I was like, I was resisting the urge. I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it, don't say it, and then you know, I had to say it, man. I had to. It was right there. It was right there. I'm sorry, that was the most legendary, iconic line, and I wouldn't say all of gaming, but you know, at least the FPS genre. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was. Oh my God, I miss Reznov. I miss Reznov. And nobody does a good pep talk like Reznov does. Okay, not a soul. All right. He was just the goat. He was just too goated. Uh, anyway. Golden Standard campaign. Yes, that and Black Ops 2. Black Ops 7, unfortunately, was sad. But, there we go. Steven says, thank you, Coach, for showing where I went wrong with not marrying a stock because I lost $400 to VEE yesterday. Much respect to you, not to marry. Yeah. Well, yes, yes. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it again, this is not stock or financial advice or anything like that. What was that noise?
This?
Oh, I'm like, what was that? He was clicking the pen and like my brain's neurons just started activating. Like, what is that noise? Oh yeah. All right. But yeah, no. Steven, yeah, I mean, you're welcome, man. I mean, you know, again, that's just how I work. That's what I do. I don't marry stocks, me personally.
You know what it is? A lot of these companies, they have shelf registrations. So
Yeah, they have shelf
so it's
registrations.
hard to hold them long.
Yeah, it's very hard to hold them long, and it's one of those things where like you can't. At least for me, I can't commit to a stock like that because a lot of these companies, they'll have these major runs and all this good stuff, right? And it's good, right? But then it's like, you know,
Dilution.
dilution happens and then the thing goes down and then you're losing money and it's like, you know what I mean?
Or something else better pops up.
Or something else better pops up because again, the
Takes the
stock,
attention away.
yeah, I mean, the stocks don't exist in the bubble. You got that, you know? You don't have a situation where stocks exist in the bubble. Like sometimes people get distracted, or there's another stock that comes up that's like better than the one that you're currently looking at, or at least in most people's minds it's better, right? Like for example, it's like you ever seen that meme, right? Where there's a guy walking with his girlfriend, and then there's a woman walking past, and the guy looks at the other woman while his girlfriend's glaring at him.
I see that meme.
Yeah, that is the stock market in a nutshell. That's the stock market in a nutshell. Just ooh. Like if there were like the jealous girlfriend would be VEEE, and then the new woman would be NXTC as of now. And then it's gonna be the jealous girlfriend is NXTC, and then some other stock is gonna be the new girl. I mean that's it, man. You know that's the whole deal. You know. So yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of can't really marry the stock. It's more like, you hang around there, get a quickie for a couple of minutes, and boom, you're done. At least for me. That's the way I work, at least. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. A link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. Join the Banger Nation community on our private Discord, ladies and gentlemen. We got all sorts of cool stuff. It's a great community, lots of educational stuff going on there, and just awesome people to hang around and learn. Yeah, that's normally what we like to do. We just learn, we study, learn, just vibe. It's an all-out vibe. You know what I mean? We vibing out here. Yes, sir. But yeah, let's take a look over here. Let's take a look at NXTC, see how NXTC is. NXTC, as of now, still kind of consolidated below the resistance line at $9.85 there. There's a $9.85 resistance line right there. So it really needs to break above that. Actually, hold on, excuse me. Yeah, actually, I'd say 993. 993, my bad. 993, that is the resistance line right there. It's kind of consolidated just below the resistance line, so we'll see what happens there with 993 there, right, for NXTC. NXTC needs to break the resistance at 993, consolidated below the resistance line right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, that's what we got right there. All right. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm looking for some stonks here, while I'm looking to some stonks, you know what I've been playing as of late? I've been playing. Strangely enough, I was never a big fan of James Bond, but uh, never like a big fan. Like not because I didn't like it, right? But because it's like okay, I've seen it. I saw the old movies. I'm like, it's okay, I guess. It's kind of corny, but this new game, 007, 007 First Light. Ooh, oh yeah. It is so much fun. It's so much fun. People like one of my buddies kind of gave it flack. I'm like, I don't know why. I'm like, did you play it? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, then why are you giving it flack if you haven't played the game? The combat in it is so good. It's basically like John Wick Simulator to me, only you're working for MI6. Basically you could throw things at people and go then just attack them and tackle them and stuff. It's so cool. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I love it. But yeah, Link Home Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced the commercial launch of OpenLink. So LHAI, as of now, has a shot upward over here. Nice little shot upward after a pop up and then a drop back down. Shot up once again over here. Formed a little bit of a pennant right here. Alright, and then curled its way on up slightly over here. Right? And now it's kind of just right over here, pennant, you know what I mean? Needs to really break this pennant and needs to break above it for it to be schmexy to me. It is above the VWAP as of now at 136, but needs to break this pennant right here, right over here for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. But LHAI doesn't look like it has much in the it has a good amount in the volume department. It's 10 million float, 38 million volume, but it really needs to use that volume to curl upward and break the pennant for it to be so much schmexy to me. Let's get some support and resistance lines right over here. Boom, right there. All right, so as of now, this stock needs to break above the 143 resistance line and the 157 high a day for it to be schmexy to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. LHAI, LHAI. LHAI needs to break the pennant and the resistance line at 143 for it to be schmexy to me. That's the first resistance line that has to break right there. It needs to break that pennant and the resistance at 143. All right, let's take a look at UBXG. UBXG. All right. UBXG, 1 million float, 1 million volume. Don't entirely trust it as of now, but it does have a bit of an uptrend going on there. I will give it credit where credit's due. It is a China stock, however. The China stocks tend to be very sporadic and tend to be a bit choppy there, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on it, but I don't entirely trust it. You know what I mean? So, one of those things. One of those things I don't entirely trust, but it needs to break above $9.86 for it to be schmexy to mya. That's the first thing it has to do right there. That is the resistance line right there. So UBXG needs more volume on an uptrend. Needs to break the high of day at 11.12 now. High of day at $11.12 for it to be schmexy to mya. Alright. But it looks like it broke above 986, so has to break above 11.12 now. So we'll see what happens there. Bobo Beeb says you have to think about trading stocks as if you're going on a Tinder hookup, not looking to get married. Basically. That's actually that's actually a good analogy, Bobo. Bobo says you have to think about trading stocks as yes, Bobo 2 once said wise words from Bobo 2. He said you have to think about trading stocks as if you're going on a Tinder hookup, not looking to get married. That was stated by the wonderful philosopher Bobo Fuchsius. Bobo Fuchsius. Bobo Machiavelli. Gotta love. I'm sorry, Bobo. I love like the. But yeah, no, that's actually a very good analogy. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the way I think of it normally. I mean, yeah, I guess. Bobo. Then Steven's like, okay, okay. I feel that, Steven. Don't worry. I was not ready for that comment. I I mean, I guess so. Alrighty. I wasn't ready for that comment. Oh, that took me out. That was funny. Steven said best. Yeah, or bet. Yeah. Exactly. Bobo. Some wise words from the great Bobo Fuchsius, ladies and gentlemen. All right, all right. Oh, okay. That was funny. That was funny. Okay. Let me take a look at UBXG here. UBXG looks like it's moving towards the high of day right now. It needs to break above 11.12, and it looks like it's trying to right now. It looks like it's trying to. So keeping an eye on it right now. Can it break above 11.12? It looks like it's going to. Looks like it's going to. It's a big resistance though. It is a resistance line right there. All right. RSI is getting a little bit above the a little bit overbought on the RSI, so we'll see what happens there. Needs to break above 11.12. Looks like it's pulling back slightly now, but again, going to see what happens there. Going to keep an eye on it there. Has to break above that 11.12 for it to be so much maxi to me. So we're going to see what happens with it. Again, it is China stock, so I don't entirely fully trust it, so we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens, but we have approximately 16 minutes till the bell. The bell! It deafens me. All right, so I will say this, though. UBXG. All right, curled up and remained friends with the trend. Needs to break the high of day at 11.12 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Alright, needs to break above that right there. We'll see what happens, though. We shall see what happens. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Also, looks like it's forming a bit of a resistance right over here at $10.45. $10.45 UBXG forming a resistance line at 10.45 right there. So it has to break above 10.45 and then 11.12 for it to be schmexy to me. Has to hold above 9.86. 986, that is where the support line is, and it looks like it's pulling back below it, so we have to see if it can remain friends with the trend there. Needs to remain friends with the trend. For it to be so much schmexy to me. But again, I don't trust it, so yeah. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it makes a lot of money. I hope so. But if it doesn't, it'd be like that. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Hold on one second. Oh, yes. Good, got a good stretching. Yes. That stretch was very evil, very nice. Anyways, let me get let's get a share party going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 1100, 1100, 1100, 1100. 1100. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, right there. All right. NXTC, NXTC. Let's take a look at NXTC. Ooh, all right. I just got that nice stretch in. Oh, that was a good one. Like, ever crack the vertebrae in just the right place? You're just like, oh, that's the stuff right there. Oh, yeah. All right. So, NXTC as of now formed a pennant right here. Formed a pennant. Needs to break above the $9.93 right there. Right? Needs to break that $9.93 line for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's NXTC. NXTC. NXTC formed a pennant and then broke and needs to break the $9.93 line over there. All right. Now, Steven asks Coach Long in Finger FNGR your thoughts. And then Casey asks for CLSK. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to take a look at FNGR, then I'm going to take a look at CLSK. All right, so let's get with the plan right there. FNGR. All right, now FNGR is currently up 2% as of now. This is a Singaporean stock with Q1 earnings unconfirmed due in 14 days from now on July 28th after the market close, up 2%. So the float,
50 million.
yeah, I was about to say the float is massive and the volume is low. I could tell the volume is low just by looking at it. Yep. So the volume as of now is extremely low. The float is extremely high. So let me take a look actually at the float here for FNGR.
967,000.
Oh, okay.
No, the volume, the float's 50 million.
Float's 50 million. Volume is
Under a million.
under a million. So it has a massive float and a very low volume right there. So that's FNGR. FNGR has a massive float right over here. Hold on.
They did put out an an 8K material change on the second.
Okay. So they did put out an 8K material change on the second right there, but the stock.
They have to comply with NASDAQ minimum bid.
Okay. So they have to comply. They
got
to get over $1 to comply with the NASDAQ minimum bid. That's the news that they got going on, and they're not compliant. And judging by.
So there is that pressure.
Yeah, they have that pressure going on right there. And as of now, you take a look at the price, it's 37 cents and change. So it's not near $1, right?
So there is that pressure.
So yeah, you got that pressure right there. Yeah, it needs a lot of volume. A lot of choppiness over here, a lot of indecisive wicks going on all the way over here. These are all circling instances of indecisive wicks and choppy price actions. Very heavy float at 50 million, low volume at 967. All right, that's it. It's not even 1,000 yet.
Alex is in the house.
Yes, Alex is in the house. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at LHAI as well.
Casey wants CLSK.
Yes, yes. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Give me a second. 1 second. All right. FNGR. So FNGR as of now, FNGR, very heavy float. All right, and very low volume. So not schmexy to me. All right. Needs to break. Needs volume to break the indecisive wicks and choppy price action. That's FNGR, FNGR. All right, now Casey Boyle asks for CLSK, so we'll take a look at CLSK right there. Clean Spark Inc. up 21%, has news that the shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into a $6.6 billion 20-year lease with a global technology company. So they have that going on right there. As of now, it is up 20%. Now, there were some indecisive weeks here and there, but let's take a look at the float and volume first things first. Let's take a look at the float and volume for CLSK. All right, CLSK has a very heavy float at 183 million. Volume is 6.7 million. So as of now, heavy float, low volume. Very heavy float, low volume as of now. So I don't. Huh? What happened? What happened?
Never mind.
Ah. So CLSK, yes, CLSK as of now, very heavy float, low volume. I don't entirely trust or like the stock in my opinion. All right. Had a bit of a descending wedge over here, curled its way on up slightly before forming another descending wedge right over here. Boom, boom, and boom right there. And then curled its way on up once again right over here. But has to really just remain friends with the trend. But not only that, it needs a lot of volume right there. So CLSK, as of now, not entirely a schmexy stock to me. CLSK, very heavy float and low volume right there. Very heavy float, low volume. Needs to remain friends with the uptrend there. All right. I'll give it some support and resistance lines as well, but I don't entirely trust this stock, and I don't entirely like the stock either. Has to hold above $14.71. That's the support line. Resistance is at $15.41 right there. Needs to break the high of day at 1541 with a lot of volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. And even then, it needs a lot of volume. It needs a lot of volume there. All right. Casey says, thanks for your input. Of course, our pleasure. Alex Martinez says, can you take a look at LHAI for me? In it at $1.08, did a sketchy thing of buying first green micro candle on the dip after first pump. All right. Marty says, too funny, Bobo. Good morning, Alex. Yes, sir. Marty. We love you, Marty. All right. LHAI, as of now, has some news that Link Home Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced the commercial launch of OpenLink. Let me refresh this over here so I can get access to the chart. There we go. Now, LHAI, as of now, pulled its way on back below the VWAP, curled its way on up over the VWAP right there. Needs to break $1.43, and needs to break above the high of day at $1.57 for it to be schmexy to meow. So, as of now, with LHAI, again, it does have some news that they did announce the commercial launch of OpenLink, so that's a pretty good thing, but it needs to break above $1.43. That is the resistance line right there, and then has to break the high of day at $1.57 right there for it to be schmexy to meow. LHAI does have a 10 million float, 41 million volume right there, so the volume is high, and it's looking schmexy there, but it really needs to break above that $1.57 mark, which is the high of day, for it to be schmexy to me, and it has to break up out of this pennant right here. So that's really the two things it has to do right there. So LHAI needs volume to break the pennant and the VWAPA at $1.53. It should be $1. And it needs to break not the VWAP, the high of day. The high of day at $1.57 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's LHAI. Yes, sir. Alex says, Marty, good morning, brother. Hope you're making a whole lot of money. Yes, I hope everybody's making money. Money, 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 money. Money! Yes. Alright, so we have 4 minutes until the bell. The bell! It deafens me. Yes. Alright. So we're just chilling right now, chilling like villains right now. That's what we're doing. Alright, in the meantime, let me take a look at NXTC and let's get a share party going on right there. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1300. 1300, 1300, 1300. Alright. Alright. Marty says, thanks, Alex. I did it well in the morning on NXTC. Good, Marty. Good. You made lots of money. Good. Money. Marty money. Yes.
3 minutes to the bell.
3 minutes to the bell.
The bell's coming.
The bell.
The bell.
Yes, sir. NXTC. Alright. Still consolidated as of now. Still consolidated. Needs to break the 993 resistance right there. NXTC still needs to break resistance line at $9.93 for it to be so much schmexy to me. Alex says, heck yeah, I missed the NXTC. Been watching and waiting for a dip at 850, but haven't got it. Yet glad you made some cash. And LHAI curling back to highs right there. Let's take a look at LHAI real quick. See how it's doing. LHAI is slowly curling its way on back up. Needs to break that pennant still, but it's curling. LHAI is curling. LHAI curling. Needs to break the high of day at 157. So we'll see what happens there for LHAI. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like up the stream. Be sure to give it a share. Be sure to comment. If you got any stocks you want us to take a look at, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put them in the chat. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alex says, I'm patiently waiting for the second test of $8 and a curl back to $9. Ooh. All right. All right. There we are. So what you guys got planned for this evening, ladies and gentlemen? What does everybody got planned for today? Put it in the chat. Me personally, I'm gonna do my business, right? Gonna keep an eye on the stock market. Do the 1:30 p.m. show for power plays, ladies and gentlemen. That's probably what I'm gonna do right there. I'm gonna do the 1:30 p.m. show with the Coach Meister General for power play. right? Where I'll be co-hosting and just chilling out. 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chilling out and relaxing, all cool, doing our thing. And then after that, go and get some wake done around the office and all that good stuff. And then finally,
The bell.
the bell. Finally, after that, man, I'm just gonna straight up have a nice bunch of tacos, really. All right. All right, all right, all right. Alex says, Bobo Beebs, morning. Did you cook NXTC today? Thing was a rocket, and I was busy driving, unfortunately. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bobo money. They call him Bobo Bricks for a reason, because he got bricks of gold. Brick. Yeah. House. Brick house right there. Brick house. All right. Now, let's take a look over here. Someone requested EONR. EONR. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at EONR. Not schmexy. Low volume. Low volume. Chop City. Choppy. Very choppy here. Indecisive works here. And no. No. Unconfirmed Q1 earnings due in 14 days from now on Tuesday, July 28th before the market open. Very, very choppy as of now. Very choppy, not schmexy. Right there. EONR. Very choppy and needs a lot of volume to break the indecisive wicks and choppy price action for it to be so much schmexy to me. Alright. Alex says, I know an ice cream place called Brick House. Their snowbirds travel to Florida in winter, so it's only open in peak summer months. Very good ice cream. Really? You know what I found? I actually found a Carvel ice cream like in Florida. And little trivia about Coach and I, our favorite ice cream has to be Carvel ice cream. Just the soft serve ice cream. For those of you who don't know, you know what I mean?
SHPH moving.
Oh, let me see.
Volume.
SHPH moving on low volume. Let's see.
Low volume.
All right, let's take a look. SHPH curling up a little bit on low volume right there. Price spike on some low volume SHPH.
No news.
Huh?
No news.
No news. SHPH. Choppy. And curling on low volume. Up 67% right there. There we go. Alright. So, that's SHPH. SHPH. Not schmexy to meow there. Alright, let's get a share party going. Let's get the 1500. Alright. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1500. Alright. Alright. There we go. Alright, let's see here. Let's see. NXTC. Hold on. But yeah, no. Bobo Beef, since I was driving at that time as well, dagnammit. Don't worry too much, Bobo. There's always going to be another one. Always going to be another one. Alex says, here we go, $8 test on a Bobo. Can the curl off a double bottom? We shall see. Alex says, yeah, that's the story of my life. 5 hours a day for work I drive. Oh. Casey says, VMAR moving back up. All right, let's take a look at VMAR. 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 Let's take it below the VWAP as of now.
$2.16.
It
is curling.
It is curling a little bit, but yeah.
Very low volume.
Yeah. Curling off that descending wedge, though, I will say that, but still needs to break that. Still needs to break that VWAP.
Volume is like 18,000 the last candle. Very low.
VMAR needs to break the descending wedge. Oh, it is curling off the descending wedge.
Gotta break the VWAP at 215.
Yep. Curling. Off of the descending wedge. Needs to break the VWAP at 1217 for it to be so much mexi to me. Alex says Blue Jay is coming back. Things always testing some kind of level. BJDX. Let's take a look at BJDX. Haha, DX. Okay. Consolidated below the VWAP as of now. Below the VWAP just a little bit of consolidation as of now. Needs to really break this line right over here. Needs to break this area right over here. Alright, for it to be so much schmexy to mya. Alright, so as of now, BJDX curling above the pennant and needs to break the VWAPA at 159 for it to be so much mexi to mya. That's BJDX. NXTC has it holding up. There. Still needs to break the pennant. NXTC still needs to break that pennant. Yes. NXTC still needs to break the pennant right there for it to be so much schmexy to mya. Alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it from me. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot's the cash. Hold up, the big bucks, I tell ya. Yes, sir. Alright, yeesh. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our wonderful merch store. Link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We've got all sorts of cool stuff, ranging from t-shirts to hoodies to caps to cup and handles. I mean mugs, right? We got our wonderful mats. We have tumblers. We have stickers. We have hats. We got all sorts of cool stuff there, ladies and gentlemen. So be sure to check it out. Show it some love. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. There we go. All right. But yeah, NXTC as of now needs to break 993. That's the resistance right there. All right. All right. Let's see here. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time electric scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cash, the big bucks, I tell you. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check us out on our 3-month deal as well. Be sure to check out our 3-month deal at a discounted rate of $66.67 per month, charged quarterly. So be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. It's a nice little limited time deal, so be sure to check it out there. All right? And of course, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of live streaming, stock reviews, stock analysis, all sorts of cool stuff like that. So be sure to check that out as well. Be sure to show it some love. Show it some love. Be sure to show it some love. Give it a like, comment, subscribe, share, ring the bell icon to stay notified, all that cool stuff. Remember to check us out on our X.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of live streaming, stock reviews, stock analysis there. We do live streaming, stock reviews, stock analysis, long form videos and short form videos on our YouTube. All right. Be sure to check us out on our Twitch at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of live streaming there. So be sure to give that a like and a follow, and give it a follow and give it a share there. All right. Be sure to check us out on our Facebook at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of live streaming, stock reviews, and stock analysis there as well. Be sure to check out our TikTok, Tiki Taki, aka the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. The DBL NICKS in the screen name is Coach Nick Money. Money. Yes. So be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen, and be sure to check out our Instagram and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, and all that good stuff right there. Yes, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. Be sure to check out our 1:30 p.m. show, Power Play, hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he traverses the stock market prior to the Power Hour. And what he likes to do is he likes to keep an eye on the stocks. He likes to let them simmer a little bit on high heat with a little bit of paprika, a little bit of sazon, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of all that other good stuff right there. Yes. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Be sure to show it some love over there. Be sure to show it some love. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I'm going to be co-hosting on that show. So again, it's going to be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Power Play. All right. And yeah, we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. Quick thing before we wrap up. If you guys have been watching and you're serious about trading small caps, don't just sit on the outside trying to piece it together. We've got a 4-day full access pass for only $9.99, as well as a 3-month full access pass for $66.67 per month, charged quarterly, and it's full access. So you come inside, you get to see how we actually operate live. You get to see how we structure trade ideas, how we map levels, how we think about risk, how we handle momentum. You'll get access to the next day early watch list, as well as 24/7 market news flow, pre-market scanners, regular hour scanners, after hour scanners, all that cool stuff right there. 24/7 market news flow, by the way, is right to the right side of our screen right here. It has the hyperlinks to the article right there. So all you have to do is click the hyperlink and get the full article. It has a synopsis of what goes on with inside the article, as well as a hyperlink to the tickers that are affiliated with the news within said article right there. So you can learn more about those and actually do your due diligence right there. You get pre-market, regular hours, and after-hour scanners with built-in ticker, price, volume, float, change in percentage, whether the stock is moving up or down, as well as, you know, all that other good stuff right there. The time in which it was scanned, hyperlinks to learn more about the stocks, and all that good stuff right there. And this is just one of the many scanners shown on the left side of the screen right there. And of course, you get access to our ticker tape built to catch stocks just when they're starting to heat up, but before they go parabolic, because ladies and gentlemen, this ain't noise. We do structure. And if that's how you want to approach this market, grab the 4-day pass or the 3-month pass and come see it live. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, just made different. And of course, link is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. And when you come in, let us know you saw us on the stream. We'd love to hear from you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I'll see you guys at 1:30 p.m. for Power Play. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. Happy time.